Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining myself and colleague James Chan. James is from CoolWallet, one of our business partners, and I am the Growth and Partnership Manager at Changelly. So just to frame what it is we're going to be presenting for you today, is the partnership we have, when it started, why it started, and what were along the way the sort of pitfalls that we encountered, that we overcame, and how it came to become a very successful partnership. And ultimately, the last thing we want to leave you with is how we were able to achieve quite significant growth in this partnership, around 36%, if I'm not mistaken, growth in transactions, in swap volumes. And we're also going to look at some of the other growth metrics that CoolWallet had experienced through integration of different products, and which of those relate to Changelly and overall to CoolWallet. So on that note, this is a story of growth and successful partnership, and I would like to introduce James. And James, perhaps you can introduce your company and yourself on the next slide.
Okay, thank you, John, for the introduction. And hello, everyone. My name is James, and I am from a company called CoolBitX. The company itself is based in Taiwan. And we were founded in 2014, which is 11th years for us this year. And we make a hardware wallet, looks like this one. It's this thing, and it's about the credit card sized hardware wallet. And it's more than a card. It actually is an electronic device which can be powered up. And then after you turn it on, and this device will send the encrypted Bluetooth signal to your smartphone, and it can interact with our application. And we are the world's first card-sized hardware wallet, and we also keep our zero hack record for over 10 years and still keep going.
Awesome. James, I'm going to jump in and say a little bit about Changelly, but I love the card. I mean, the thing that kind of amazes me is that you've got something that is the size of a credit card that genuinely could be mistaken for a credit card. And, and it actually has inbuilt electronics and inbuilt, Bluetooth and all the rest of it. And yeah, it's just, I love the product. So in terms of what you have delivered as a hardware product, there are a lot of, hardware wallets out there, but the shape and the direction you took with it is something I thought was fantastic.
Thank you.
On that note, let me come back to Changelly a little bit and tell you what we do so that people understand the relationship between our two businesses. So Changelly is also now 10 years in crypto. We started in 2015. We have three core products. The main one, which is the one we'll be talking about today, is for crypto swaps. We're an instant crypto swap exchange. We draw liquidity from various liquidity pools and major centralized exchanges in order to provide swaps across about 185 blockchains. And we're somewhere in the offering of about 1,000 tokens. So we use a smart routing system to basically, not bypass, but if you'd like, end-to-end crypto swaps. We do the bridging, we do all the gas fees and everything, all of that we do on our side so that customers don't have to go through that complicated process of swapping crypto, especially when it comes to bridging and cross-chain and all that stuff. So that's our core product. We API that free. And in fact, all the APIs we provide are free. We have a second API, which is for fiat on and off ramp. And that we do through aggregated fintech and payment solution providers. So we give access to a number of those different payment solution providers to have a wide geographical reach and currency reach. And then we also do crypto processing through Changelly Pay for companies that are looking for receiving crypto payments, payment crypto solutions. We're up to about 10 million registered retail users. I would say about 2.5 million active retail users on our app and website. We have over 600, close to 680 business partners, which include partners like, CoolWallet, Ledger, Trezor, Tangem. There's a lot of the industry people out there that depend on Changelly swaps. Again, all through API. And then we have a number of different complex solutions on the API to offer, so we can split those services up into different divisions. So let's start a little bit with the core of the presentation. I want to get into how and where you were I think it was 7 or 8 years ago that our companies came
Yeah.
to meet, and where you were at the time, and how it is that you kind of came to need Changelly's service or meet us at that time.
Yes. So before going into how we partnered up, I want to give a little background of our company and why we have established the company.
Okay.
Back in 2014, there was a big hack incident in Japan, Mt. Gox incident. I think a lot of people are familiar with the incident, and millions of crypto assets were hacked. So our CEO at the time thought that he wanted to provide a product where which it can provide safety. At the same time, it can also provide the convenience, because normal hardware wallets used to be USB type, and you had to have your laptop or you had to stick it into your desktop in order to use or interact with your own assets. So we made it to card size, and we made it into Bluetooth interaction with the smartphone application, so that you could trade anywhere you want, anytime you want. But then here's the thing, is that we provided the safety, but we were lacking the in-wallet feature, and we didn't have a place for our users to directly swap their funds. So people still had to move their assets to exchanges for swapping. And that's when we met Changelly at the time.
Yeah, I think what you said there is very, how to say, because it does go back, when you go into crypto and you start looking back 10 years and you look at things like Mt. Gox, little did we know that would be the beginning of many other different exchange kind of collapses, FTX and all of those. If you've been through a few cycles, you'll see that. So the wallet, and more now, wallets are starting to come out as a good business concept. And that's where it's important, as you said, if you create a wallet and you give people the option to have that safety and that security, store your assets, but then of course you need to have that in-wallet functionality, because otherwise the kind of pain points we noticed was that you can attract users, especially if you have something like what you've got, a very cool, sleek design, excellent hardware. It's going to attract users. People are looking for that safety, for that non-custodial kind of option to store their assets. So we came across, or let's say how we came to be, was we noticed that there was a lot of wallets and different businesses that had good business models, but they were missing that in-wallet kind of userability. So as a result, that led to people entering the wallet, feeling very safe and secure in the beautiful hardware and sometimes software. But then when they wanted to actually do something with their capital, which they could do on these exchanges, but that they found to be a little bit risky, they didn't have anywhere to go. Or if they did, they would pop into the exchange, and then slowly there would be a little bit of churn when people start leaving the wallet to basically accomplish what it is that they want outside the wallet. So for us, the whole idea was we need to build something that can be in wallet, and that's how Changelly Swap API came to be. And that's where we thought we'll be able to maintain clients inside that one ecosystem. So we created that solution. And maybe you could tell us how you found that solution, once you started to integrate, what it did, or, what did it do for CoolWallet?
Yeah. Yes, so it actually provided Crawler users a very good place to swap, and the user interface itself, we have integrated the API, and then we took some time to design the user interface so that a user can be comfortable, and the swap experience can be easy and very clear. And it helped us to increase our users to use the swap service by a lot. And we've noticed that by providing the swap service, the user stayed instead of just moving their assets to exchanges. They still do, but the ratio have decreased by a lot. So by integrating Changelly API, we were able to let more of our users stay in the application, and we also provided them with a comfortable place to do a very easy and simple swap.
And I think you touched on some of the points that I wanted to bring to the attention of, when we talk about creating a swap functionality or an in-wallet functionality, there was a lot of things that needed to be pulled together to bring a good product. And so we were looking at transaction limits because in the beginning, of course, crypto is new, it's still nascent. So if today there's a lot of liquidity providers, back then the amount of liquidity providers in the space when we're still very small cap in crypto was very difficult. That meant that having transaction limits, it was very difficult to do small transaction limits. So we started, we were very early days, we started to realize we need to work with big liquidity providers in order to make it attractive to users who wanted to be able to do swaps on smaller values and attract a much larger audience. So that was, by the time we started working together 7-8 years ago, that was something that we had looked into. And I think it was the early days of enabling that kind of, very far from mass adoption, but at least people who were in there start to adopt it more easily. And of course, as you said, the security aspect of it is important. And transaction speed was something we looked at. So there we realized that we need to have multiple partners in order to get a smooth transaction speed. And that's when we started to think about this smart routing system. And if we were able to find liquidity and offers from multiple different centralized exchanges, and liquidity providers would be able to get that transaction speed down. So that was something we focused a lot on. And then, of course, if something breaks, if you find a partner who's giving you an API, they're new to the business and they don't have what it takes to kind of fix those bugs. A lot of people today are entering the space. There's a lot of great ideas, but not a lot of them have been tried and tested or battle tested. So we've been around for 10 years. You guys have been around for 11 years. You've seen various different crypto cycles, and you've seen just how crazy it can get when we're in the down cycles. And then, you just need a lot of attention, and they need their product to work. So we really put in a lot of time with our dev teams to make sure we've got a product that works. Yes. And then, of course, analytics, which I will come to in a minute. You want to collect that data and make sure you can use it. And of course, we have their only robot support. Nowadays with AI, it's becoming more common. But of course, if you look back into 7, 8, 10 years ago, people were starting to have some kind of bot stuff. It doesn't work. You need in person. Of course, we've got some automated responses for certain things, but in person is something maybe a bit later I'll bring up, because it's very important to us also to have that in-person feedback. Yes. So I'll pop on to the next slide. And I think maybe, these are some points that you said had worked for you. Could you let us know what, I mentioned a lot of points, but obviously some of them were important to you. So give us some feedback on that, if you would.
Okay, so right now, CoolWallet actually supports 35 chains, and we also support all the EVM compatible chains on our wallet, and the users are able to add the new tokens that they would like to hold. But there were a problem where they were holding the tokens they want, and they wanted to swap, but they couldn't find the right place to swap within our application. And that was when Changelly came in really helpful, because Changelly gave a really quick support on the new tokens, and right after they support, we were able to provide the swap service to our customers who's in need. That was great. And also, regardless of how fast we can solve the customers' issues, but Changelly actually has a customer support team that is connected to our customer support team, and the Changelly's customer support team were always able to respond really fast at the first time. So that also helped us to negotiate or even solve our client's problem.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're from what I can tell, we're listing new tokens, every day. As soon as they come out on an exchange that we work with, we're able to integrate them very quickly, because we know that often a lot of these, kind of tail end coins have their moment in the light, and sometimes it's very brief. And sometimes users want to be able to interact with the latest shiny token that just came out. So I know that, from a lot of feedback we've had in analytics, that's the way it is. A new token comes out, people get very active on it, and then it either becomes something or it fizzles out. But nowadays with, millions of tokens being created per second, they usually fizzle out. But yeah, we noticed, as you said, a lot of wallets want that. So we are always updating our token listings. And on the, support side, yeah, we're very happy that you guys appreciate the support. We know that support is something that's extremely difficult. to do properly. And so we're always trying to make sure that we're somewhere there with the two levels of support. One is the partnership support. We work closely together, our different teams. And then the other one is, of course, supporting the users and making sure that they're well supported. So the bigger we get, the more challenges we face with the support. That's the reality of it. We're now, doing multiple millions of transactions per X amount of time. And with that, of course, there's going to be an increase in the support level. So keeping up with support is something that's important to us. I would say we have to keep evolving with the growth of the company and make sure that complements both the hardware, which is amazing, the software, which is good, and then the human side is one thing that most companies, they kind of focus on one or the other, but doing all three together is where I think there's real success. Yeah. I'm going to jump on to the next slide. And that's just to come back a little bit to the dashboard and those type of things. We did, as I mentioned, all of these things before. We focused on making transaction time down. We, focused on customizations. And of course, because we work on a partnership model, it's important to note that we don't charge anything up front. So we don't make anything by giving our API keys out. That puts us in a position where we're vested in the success of the people we share our keys with. We really become partners. Because we don't make anything up front, we're giving a product away for free. If the product doesn't work, there you've got your own kind of testament right there. No one's going to use it. We will make no money up front and we'll make no money with the product. So we really have to stay at the forefront of making sure we're always adapting our product so that it's useful, that the end user wants to use it and that our partners want to use it. So that's one thing that's important to us. And then, of course, it is a business at the end of the day. We work on this revenue share. So we are able to customize the fees, the swap fees, both for yourself and for us. We try to always make those as competitive as possible so that the user is still getting a fair price exchange on their swaps. And then, of course, the analytics are very important, especially when you've been in the market for a long time. You've got a lot of partners. We can help guide our partners and say, this tends to work, this fee tends to work, that type of swap pairs tend to work. So we can give our users a dashboard. It comes with the API where, you guys will also be able to analyze a little bit your user behavior and kind of figure out where is or what are the type of products or customizations I can do to give my user the best experience. And in turn, that experience will result in, hopefully more transactions and them having a better experience means more potential revenue. So on the subject of revenue, I wanted to get to the crux of what this kind of, what this is about. We want to show the people who took the time out of their day to come and, listen to us talk. Is there money to be made? Because ultimately, that's really it. Is there a business opportunity if you're a wallet or if you're, anyone involved with crypto swaps, wanting to provide that ecosystem to your users? What does that mean if you get the right partnership?
Yes.
So what was that for you? Because I know it was a success story, but I'd love to hear what you've done and where did we come in involved in success,
So time goes by really fast. It's 7 years already. And within these 7 years, we actually had a lot of improvement of our own. We supported like the NFT wallets, and we are now supporting staking service as well in our application. And we also provide on-ramp service. And nonetheless, we also provide more choice of the swap service as well. And we also have a web browser where you can just directly go to the app that you like. But built-in swap service is still preferred by a lot of the users. And by integrating a lot of convenient services into our application, we were able to increase our daily users by 16% and monthly users by 18%. And on top of that, Changelly alone showed 32% of the increase in the transaction revenue. So it's a great partnership, in my opinion. And it was done because Changelly and the CoolWallet's team worked together very closely.
So is it fair to say, just to make it clear for the viewers, Because I think what you did is definitely you did it the right way. You incorporated more and more features in the wallet. And as you said, now if you've got on-ramp, off-ramp capability, I would imagine as a company you've grown and licensing and all those kind of things that come with it.
Yes.
But that is really what, if viewers are watching and they're creating that ecosystem, the more you can add related services to each other, not going for something crazy, but really ultimately people want to manage their funds. They want to be able to go between the traditional finance and the fintech side and everything. So obviously your user numbers in terms of your monthly growth of number of users and daily active users would have been a function of a number of different products that you brought into your ecosystem. But the 32% daily transaction volume, that would be a direct result of crypto swaps, right?
Yes.
Okay. So that's kind of where I wanted to go with it, because I think, and at least the data we have shows that crypto swap is still one of, and in some cases for many wallets, the number one revenue stream. I'm not sure if it's still for you guys at CoolWallet, because you've added on so many features.
Yes.
It might be, and I don't need you to disclose that information, but I know that certainly in the early days when it was, one of your core foundational products, it would have been certainly one of the main revenue streams. And today it's still got to be up there as, if not the first one or top. So I did want to emphasize to the viewers that having that crypto swap functionality in a wallet is a very important part of the revenue stream of a wallet or a crypto exchange and stuff like that. So thanks for sharing those numbers. I'll let you go on with this next slide, because it relates to the API integration.
Yes.
As I said, we give those API keys out for free. So definitely it's something that we want the process to be smooth, easy, fast. We want people to just be able to get their hands on them with very little barriers to entry. And so we believe we've got a good product in terms of API, very easy to integrate. Something can be integrated as quickly as within a few days, but then of course there's a lot of UX and all of those things to build up. So I would say anywhere from a few days to a few weeks is typically what we get as feedback. I know you're a hardware wallet, so there might be some added, I'm sure, things you think. So how was it for you? Were you around when it happened, or were you able to get any feedback on it? How was your process?
So actually, I wasn't in CoolBitX 7 years ago. I came in like 3 years ago, but I did ask our team about how the integration went. There was some technical team still staying after 10 years of the company. And they said that it was pretty easy to integrate, but as a hardware wallet company, we still value security more than speed. So we took our time to check everything. And in order to make our users to have a better experience, so we also took some time to make a design that can be more easy to use for our users as well. But even so, we still only took around maybe 5 to 6 weeks, and everything was done and it was released. The service went great.
So basically, few weeks for integration. If your focus is security, which it should be, I think, everybody watching is obviously shouldn't take time over security. So you would say probably like about a 4 or 5 week process is what you're saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I think that makes sense, especially when you add your own UX and you're incorporating it into your own UX and adding UI and all of that sort of stuff. So I think we've covered pretty much what we wanted to cover. We got to the point where we've talked about how this integration and how this relationship is, turned into something profitable, how it's relatively easy to integrate, and we've covered the key points. I think what I would like to do is get your thoughts on, maybe I can cover some of this and you can cover some of this slide, but we came up together and over time with our partners with a kind of a formula. And that's what I want the users who are watching to understand, is that what we did with you, we can now replicate. And we have so with many partners. So maybe you could just talk on this slide a little bit, and then if it's okay with you, I'll kind of jump in.
Sure.
Yeah.
So for us, our main purpose was to provide a safe platform where people can store their assets safely and they can sleep well at the night. So we focused on trust and security for the most. And then Changelly came in to provide more convenience for our users. So Changelly actually made our hardware wallet more than just a hardware wallet. It is also a gateway to the Web3 worlds, and the swapping can provide users to hold the tokens that they want in a safe environment, and that meant a lot for us.
Thanks for setting it up. And I don't really have much more to say. I mean, I think it's the way we put it down there on that slide is kind of formulaic, because it's giving that in-wallet, providing a service in-wallet is, in our case, it's the crypto-to-crypto swaps. And we realize that is going to keep retention. It's going to avoid users going out of the wallet to look for things elsewhere. So along with the retention, then you also need to have that activity and that conversion. And that's a combination of what we offer and what our partners offer. We talked about it in terms of, we can provide the speed and of the transaction and some of the UX. You're going to have some of the user interface that you're going to improve. But ultimately, if they're in an environment that they're comfortable with, that they feel safe with, when they click a button, it works and so on, that's what's going to drive conversion. Because if you do something once, it's usually, quite nerve-wracking. But if it works the first time, you typically, the fear goes and then you use it second, third. So it becomes something, behavioral. So that would be the conversion, driving that conversion. And then finally is the third part of the formula, if you'd like, is really the engagement, the user engagement, partner engagement, wider audience engagement, and that's the marketing campaigns. And so again, as I said, we're working on that revenue share model. So it's very much in Changelly's interest to make sure that with our partners, we have joint marketing campaigns and we continue to engage with those users and keep that product awareness. So that I think is really kind of sums it up. I'm going to jump on to just a few of the marketing campaigns and also some of the, we've got some, I think, extra things we want to offer to the audience at the end. So I'm just going to touch a little bit on what we do in terms of marketing, how we support our partners, and some of the things we did together as partners. So I'm just going to jump into the marketing side. So yeah, we do a lot of, my slides are not moving forward. If you just give me a minute. Well, I think on the live side, the slides are going to be moving forward. So we're just on the marketing slide.
Sure.
So we do engage with different media campaigns and things like that. And again, just technically, I'll let the guys of our team know, we can't actually see what slide we're on. But James, if you could talk to us a little bit about the media marketing campaign that we did together a while back, that would be great.
So I think any exposure is appreciated at this time of the marketing environment. And yes, Changelly did help us to write an article and release the press release on You Today. And it did bring us some of the extra exposure that we were not looking into. So it is a great boost for a company as well.
Yeah. Yeah, so we those are the kind of things we like to do. We like to get out and offer from our, we put our money where our mouth is. We do spend a fair bit on marketing because that is really what's going to help you grow. And if you, our partners, grow, obviously that means growth for us. So those are the type of campaigns we can do on large media campaigns where we do these kind of things. Also, moving on to slide 15, which is talking promotions. And again, James, I'm sorry if you can't see the slides right now. But here we're talking about sort of the promos that we're able to do. And those type of promos, which would be things like zero fee campaigns and giveaways, we have quite a large audience. So that's something we bring to the partnership. We've got about 2 million monthly web visitors. We've got about 1.5 million blog readers signed up for our blog post. And on the socials, a few 100,000 there, plus about 5 million installations of our application, our app. So together it makes quite a large audience. So when we do team up with a partner, we're able to bring that audience and the attention of that partner to that audience, which is something we help with quite a lot. And I'm going to move on to slide 16, which basically talks about co-branding. And I think we had a chance before the call when we met to talk about co-branding, and I was actually really excited about our co-branding project.
Yes.
So on that, I would just like to say, with the co-branding, we typically are able to reach somewhere in the environment of about 8 million users, and we do
Yes.
that through blogs and media articles and the various things we talked about. But James, what would be a co-branding thing, which, like I said, we just kind of came up with while preparing for
Yes.
this, and I think that was a good one. So what did you have in mind? Because I'd love you to share that with
Yes.
us.
So I was discussing with Changelly's marketing team, and yes, Changelly helped their partner with a variety of department, marketing team, business development team, and also customer support team. But yes, I was talking with the marketing team, and as our card typed product is very easy to put up a design that you request or desire. So right now we are planning to make a co-brand card with Changelly, and unfortunately I don't have the Changelly sample on my hand, but here's some of the past co-brand card we did with other partners. So it's pretty cool way to interact with your community as a giveaway present or prize. And yes, we are actually planning to make some with Changelly because as some of the audience might know, it's Changelly's 10th anniversary. Congratulations, by the way.
Thank you. And your 11th anniversary soon too, right?
Yes.
You're like our big brother.
Yeah.
I see some of those branded cards again because they're really nice. I'd just like to see those.
Yeah, these are some of the example we made with our previous partners. And sorry for
I know we've got our marketing team watching in on this podcast. I think we need one of those for Changelly, definitely. And I would like to propose even that we do it, as you said, maybe as a giveaway, something that we'd be able to offer as a special promo to some lucky winners on a promo. So on that note, we'll move on to slide 17 because I've lost the ability to move the slides on my side.
No problem.
And slide 17, that's talking, it's talking a little bit about what we're doing, in terms of Ask Me Anything, AMAs, and webinars.
Yes.
That we're doing today. So the thing I'd like to say on that, because I know you can't see the slides right now yourself, is that what we're doing today, with CoolWallet is one of the many different ways that we like to engage with our partners. This type of activity, you showing that there's potentially something like, a joint card that we could do together, building up new promos. So I think that's one of the things I wanted to convey to some people watching, is that we're always trying to be creative, whether it's doing a big news blog or putting something out on a big article, or just coming together as we've done today, which I'd like to do again, by the way, James. I don't know how many of these, but it's been a pleasure doing this with you.
Thank you. Actually, this was my first webinar and the first YouTube live, and I'm kind of nervous and excited at the same time. And I did a little bit of AMA with other partners before, but what I really appreciate this time is that Changelly actually goes an extra mile to even make a landing page and the pre-announcement and the PR article, and we as CoolBitX appreciate that.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a great, time with you. I was very happy to meet you before we started, just to get to know you a bit. But I had no idea this was your first time doing a webinar. So I'm going to move on to the last two slides. Those are really just final kind of promo slides, if you'd like, because I think you have a promo and we have a promo that we want to offer to the people watching. So I'm moving on to slide 18, and then just shortly after slide 19, and then we're going to go into some Q&A. So slide 18 and 19 is just to show that, here at Changelly, we also do promos, not just joint promos, but we do promos for our partners. So in things like, Black Friday, or if we go on to slide 19 on the Bitcoin halving, we also come up with promos that we offer to our partners. So in the case of the Bitcoin halving, I think we were giving away some Apple goggles, those 3D goggles and stuff like that. And so we also do these kind of things where we prepare giveaways, and then we contact our partners and say, would you like to be able to come into it with us and offer these giveaways? So that's something we want to offer, and that's something we want to engage with new participants that might be watching today to come up with these, cool, funky ideas to basically promote stuff. So I just wanted to mention, you've got a promo code, right? Let's just mention those now before the Q&A.
Okay.
And then we'll jump into a few questions, and then maybe we'll have some challenging comments after that.
All right.
What's your promo? What are you offering?
If any audience is actually interested in the card size hardware wallet, you can always go to coolwallet.io to check out our websites. And as Changelly is having its 10 years anniversary, we prepared a promo code. Just type in Changelly 10, 10 as in number 1 and 0. And Changelly 10 will give you a 20% discount on our CoolWallet Pro.
And am I eligible?
Yes, of course.
I really, really, really like your wallet.
Thank you.
Yeah, so we also have a promo code, which would be Changelly 2025. So again, that's number 2025. Both your promo code and our promo code will be sent out to anyone who attended in the audience today from our marketing department. So they'll be in touch with everybody a bit later. And I would urge anyone today watching who's in need of either, let's say, a growth strategy, maybe in wallet, or you're maybe in need of something that we can provide as Changelly, please come to us. We'd be very happy to talk about all the different features and marketing ideas and everything else. And if we have users that are, I know today this idea of treasury, these treasury companies, Bitcoin treasury and those kind of things is becoming more and more very much at the forefront of the crypto space. Please get in touch with CoolWallet. They've got a very safe, battle-tested wallet, which is not only something you can use as a treasury, for your treasury, for storing your assets, but as we discussed today, they've gone far beyond that, far beyond just the days when they met Changelly and incorporated crypto swaps. They're also able to give you so many more functionality with the on-ramp, off-ramp, and earn, and all of those features. So if there are any companies looking for, a cool wallet, you've got one right here. So please get in touch with James's team. Take the promo, and that would be great. So on that note, James, thank you so much. And maybe we can take a few questions if there are any questions that people would like to ask. Thanks, James. I really enjoyed that.
Thank you, John. Thank you for having me as well.
It was a pleasure. So let's see if we've got anyone on our side. Could you feed us any questions if there are any? Do we have anything coming up? All right. So apparently we've got some questions coming. They're gonna send us the hardball questions. See if
let's see if we can answer that.
Yeah. So if you all give us a minute, we're just waiting. The questions are being typed and sent to us. So. All right, so we've got one question that's come through. A decent question, I like it. The question is, how do you balance liquidity and keep rates attractive while growing volumes? So I think that's a swap question. I'll take that one. So basically, the question being, how do we keep rates, fair while we grow and with more volume? So that comes back to our smart routing system. The smart routing system is working on, we're drawing from multiple different factors in order to execute our swaps. So we look at things like liquidity in accordance to the swap pair. So let's say we're doing, Bitcoin to stablecoin. Of course, I'm picking the most common ones, the easiest one, but we'll have that smart routing system that will go out into the liquidity pools that we have, third-party liquidity pools and the centralized exchanges, and we'll look at what's the available volume. So if it's a large order with a lot of volume, we'll be able to draw on multiple sources of liquidity. We also prioritize things like the rate. What rates are we getting back from these different sources on that pair? Who's able to, market match or market make those different swaps? Then we're also looking at the availability in terms of speed. How liquid are the different areas that the smart routing system is looking at, so that we got a speed of transaction. If it's going to be one source, the speed is going to be fast. If we're going to have to look for multiple sources and split it up, this, that might slow down the interaction. So all of those things are taken into account. Of course, it's automated, so we don't have, it's not really someone sitting there. So an automated smart routing system is going to go out, find liquidity, find availability on those tokens, and really execute them at the most effective price that we can find amidst our exchanges and liquidity pools. Was there something else I had at the back of my mind to say on that? Yeah, there was. The other thing was, I gave an example of Bitcoin and stablecoin. That obviously we're going to find liquidity for those kind of things. But a lot of people are looking for more exotic coins. That's when the smart routing system is really put to the test, because that's where we're going to have to maybe split a large volume order on some coin that is exotic, not hard to find. And that's, of course, the price and the rate of that will be pushed up, the network fees, especially if we're looking at cross-chain. When you go cross-chain, you're going to have to add the fees of bridging and all of those kind of things. But yeah, we're very competitive. And I mean, if I can give an example, just a little bit, we work with CoolWallet. We work with a whole bunch of other wallets. I won't necessarily bring up all the names of the wallets we work with, but most of the largest, and I would say the largest wallets out there are using Changelly, and a lot of the time they will use more than one aggregator. So it might be us plus another, and in a very large proportion of those situations, we come out as the top 90% in some cases of swaps will be executed through us when we are side by side along a lot of our competitors in wallets. And we're very happy with any wallet wanting to use Changelly alongside any other competitor. We think it's great for your ecosystem. So we've got no need for exclusivity. We know that it keeps us on our toes and keeps us providing good rates. So we have another question there. James, can you see those questions too?
Yeah.
So do you want to take the second one, or do you want to take one of those questions that might be interesting for you?
Interesting for me. I saw a question saying that transaction volume grows. How do you ensure that kind of growth is sustainable long term and not just a one-time spike after launch? I think this is kind of a great question. And personally, I think, to be honest, by just integrating Changelly alone, we couldn't make that far until like where we are right now. It takes a little bit of time to be sure that everything works out. And we did have ups and downs. And to be honest, some of the times the transaction volume is actually very affected by the crypto market itself. Like some of the times there was months or even year-long crypto market going like very steady and they are not going up, or the movement itself is very small as a range, then it surely does affect swap, but it's more like a whole environment thing instead of like, Changelly is not doing well just because market is down or anything like that. But yes, I think in order to sustain a long-term, how do I say this? In order to sustain long-term growth, I guess, you still need to, upgrade your own system or add some new features into your system so that you can have your basic amount of users. And then after the user come into your platform, and it's the time where you can also grow with Changelly together. And I think by having Changelly, as John just said, they would also be helping out the marketing side. So at first, I guess we can, I'm not sure because it was 7 years ago for me, but I think for the new partners, I think they might be able to rely on Changelly's marketing resource at the first, but at the end, the most important thing is that your own company have to have your own maybe plan or growth strategy in order to make it a better growth.
Yeah, I agree, and I think it does. We kind of talked about that formula. Make sure you got the in-app, that ecosystem where in-app you create what will give users not just swaps but earn and all those kind of features. And then, as you mentioned, keep updating your own systems. So yes, you can incorporate APIs from different partners, but if you don't keep your own systems looking good, giving that great user experience, they'll go elsewhere. And then, as you said, marketing, it helps. You can't just count on that for growth, but certainly if it's ongoing and it's consistent, and you keep those three things, keep building features, keep them updated, and then keep marketing, I think that's what's going to give sustained growth. And very importantly, you said, we go through different cycles. So there are times when the cycles will go down and activity overall is going to drop. That is not a function of any of those, of that formula. It's just one of those things. Companies need to be robust, need to have cash flow reserves and sustain during hard times, and then know how to deploy those cash reserves during good times. So I think it applies to crypto companies as much as it applies to traditional running a traditional business. And I think users sometimes need to remember, it's not just because we're in crypto that you can suddenly make crazy money. You still have to run it like a business. You still need to have all of those features of managing your business and have a plan, as you said. Let's take another question. Did you notice any surprising user behavior after adding swaps? Any significant patterns? So I don't know, do you want to take that question? Does that make sense to you, or do you want me to think about that?
Yeah, I think I can give a little bit of an information that I am seeing.
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah, any surprising user behavior after adding swaps? Yeah, I'm thinking. I don't think I can come up with an example right now. Yeah, maybe John, can you please take the question?
Yeah, so surprising behavior after adding swaps and any significant patterns. So, I mean, we can draw on data from not just CoolWallet, but from also other wallets. I think if we're looking at user behavior for a wallet, and I'm not too sure how to answer the question or what kind of behavior they're looking for, but we noticed that if the swaps tend to, or if the swap provider tends to provide a good UX and simplicity, then that's what we noticed. User behavior tends to go up in relation to simplicity. In a way, I use the word simplicity. Give them something that's easy to use, less buttons to press, and then the user behavior we noticed accordingly goes up. When you add in complexity, and I'm going to refer to complexity because we're talking about swaps, there's centralized and decentralized swapping methods and stuff like that. They both have very good use cases, the decentralized and self-custody and all of those things, same as non-custodial centralized. But in the decentralized model, there's wallet connections, there's sometimes gas fees, there's knowing how to bridge. That complexity is not conducive to growing a user ecosystem. It's very conducive to growing, how would I say, diehard fans. And there are a lot of them in our, in crypto that are here, and thank God. I was at some point a diehard fan. I'm sure you were. We learned how to use all of these decentralized swap methods and things like that, but it wasn't easy. And, it drove me to go more towards a centralized, exchanges and things like that, because a lot of that user experience was simpler. And yes, it does mean there's someone in the middle. It does mean you're relying again back into, maybe anti-crypto in the sense like crypto is decentralized and we're self-custody and all of those things. But ultimately, I think a mix of the two is where the industry needs to be. And so with Changelly, we noticed that convenience, give them the one button or take away the bridging difficulties and do it all under one, beginning to end swap. So I don't know if I'm answering the question properly, but yes, user behavior, the main thing we noticed is give them convenience and give them something that works, that they can trust, and you'll notice user behavior increases a lot. And that's what we were talking about earlier about the increase in conversion rates, is good UX and simplicity and safety. Let's see if we have any more questions. We've got one more question. It's a tricky one. It says, who is responsible if something goes wrong with a swap?
Yes, I was looking at it as well.
It's a tough question. And if you want to take it, I mean, I can take it because there's no simple answer, I think, for that question. Because when things go wrong, there's not just one way of going wrong. It's not like it's your fault, the wallet, or it's Changelly's fault, or it's the user's fault. Sometimes it can be a combination of things. Sometimes it can be, someone copies and pastes something and inputs the last digit wrong, and there could be something going on there. It could be something, it's very possible that there is maybe an execution error, in which case we would probably be responsible for making sure how to find where those assets went and stuff like that. So to say who's responsible if something goes wrong, it depends what goes wrong. And I think what, I think what I would like to say to that is, if something goes wrong on our side, we like to be accountable for it and try as best we can to resolve or restore those funds. If it's a user who's made a mistake, there could be multiple outcomes. It depends on the amount that they made the mistake on. It depends on how big the mistake was. It depends if those funds are lost or if they're recoverable. So yeah, it's not an easy question, but it's something that I think, both in the interest of CoolWallet and in the interest of Changelly, is that if something does go wrong, it's to kind of work with that and see how we can resolve it. And then, of course, there's a whole bunch of other things that come into play. With this is crypto at the end of the day. There are sometimes bad actors that might want to be moving funds. There are always different cases where some legacy crypto assets have come from different collapses of exchanges and things like that. So there's always, it is a complex world to navigate crypto swaps and make sure that we're good users are getting what they need, and that sometimes 0 point something or 1% of bad actors are not getting to go through nor your ecosystem or ours. So long-winded answer to say that's a very fluid question. Who's responsible for what? It's on a case-by-case basis.
That's true. But I can add some information. When things happens, we don't really blame each other for who is responsible that something went wrong. But one thing I can assure you is that if you integrated Changelly and you made your own UI, and the people think that it's part of your service, your customer support will be taking the first hit. So I think having a great customer support team is a must if you want to integrate any kind of service that might have these kind of problem where people will come and seek for the who is responsible for what. And we, as a business development manager in CoolBitX, I do hear some of the complaints from our customer support team as well, because they are facing the very first line of the angry customers who have their fund frozen or maybe missing or any kind of the reason that it's stuck. And we do bring this information to Changelly at the very first moment that it happens. And if Changelly can solve it right away, they usually does. And if they can't, it means that something might be stuck somehow. And we do have communication with Changelly's team, and Changelly's team will say that, oh, this might be a reason that is happening on Changelly's side, and then we will direct our customer to Changelly's team. Maybe we will direct our customers to file a ticket on Changelly's maybe website or platform, or even give them a direct email information so that they can contact Changelly's support team directly. So I think before the responsible part, it'll be better if we can find a way to make the solution come up faster than before. So I think having a good communication with both sides, customer support team, is more important than saying who is responsible for what. I think we can think about that when the problem itself cannot be solved, then we can look into who is responsible.
I think you made a good point, and it is something that internally we often meet about, in terms of there are sometimes errors and there's sometimes maybe held funds or something, and I think that's some of the biggest aggravation is when customers might have held funds. When the feedback comes, as you said, the front line. And there's multiple reasons why that can happen. Checks need to be done. Where is the origin of the funds? And if sometimes it might even be outside of the user's knowledge that the funds they've received somewhere along the way might have been involved in a hack on an exchange or something like that. So I think I agree with you. The speed of being able to answer a user about what's going on and how to get those funds back to them, that's important. And I think that's something that we're working on now, and we've been addressing that a little bit more recently. We want to up our game a little bit on when funds are held, how we can respond and give the assurance to those customers that yes, sometimes it does take time if we need to do a KYC or something, but that the funds, if they're from good provenance and so on and so forth, they will be returned, but it just takes time. So I think maybe the way we communicate also with clients is going to help a great deal, just to give them the assurance we're working on it and please be patient and so on. So yeah, that was a good question. They got us talking for like 10 minutes on that one.
Yeah.
Because it's one of the hardest parts of, I think, of running an exchange or running a wallet is, of course, that customer service. So
Yes.
it's very crucial. So shorter answers, and we are going to cut off in about 2-3 minutes. So let's see if we have someone asking. If it's okay with everyone, we're going to make this the last question because I think it's a good question to finish on. Someone's asking, how do I get my benefits? So how would they be able to claim from your package, your offer, and from our offer? So if you can just remind everyone, look, we want to thank everyone for being here and taking time to share with us. James, thank you especially for joining me on this one. If you have any closing comments, feel free. And let's just remind everybody what our offer is at the end of the day.
Sure. Okay, thank you, John and Changelly team for having me. And at the last finishing word, I want to show the cool hardware wallet again. So any company or individual wants to purchase this, the promo code is Changelly10 and 10 as in numbers. And you can always visit our website, coolwallet.io, to view more informations. Yes, thank you again for having me today.
Thank you, James. And on our side, we'll have a promo code which will be shared with everyone. Both our promo code and your promo code is going to be shared by email from our team for anyone watching. And our promo code will be Changelly 2025. And the benefits that are going to be coming with that will be explained in the follow-up emails. Thank you, everybody, for your time. I hope that there was useful information, and we hope to find our new, let's say, 700th business partner somewhere in today's audience. Thank you very much for coming. And James, thank you so much for spending the time with us today.
Yes, thank you, everyone. And thank you, John.
Okay, and we're off in 10 seconds. Thanks, James.
Thank you.
Thanks. And we're off.
Nice.